The city of Bloomington is wrapping up a week of public information meetings to answer residents' questions about the proposed annexation, which would add 15,000 new residents to Bloomington. It would be the city's first annexation in more than a decade and would allow people in the affected areas access to city services in exchange for increased property taxes. But as Barbara Brozier reports, annexation is also used to spur development.
For the past 7 years, Andrew Briggs and his family have called this neighborhood home.
We like the fact that we're outside the city limits.
They live in the Stone Chase community, which sits west of the Bloomington city limits.
We actually built this house knowing that eventually the city's going to try to grab the land and annex it, but hoping that it would be put off as long as possible.
Residents here likely won't be able to put it off much longer. The city of Bloomington wants to annex 7 areas of the county, including Stone Chase. The move will generate additional tax revenue for the city, but increase property taxes for most of those who live in the annexed areas. According to an analysis prepared by the city, Briggs's property taxes could jump by more than $800. Some of that money would help pay for city services like police and fire.
We already have city water and sewer, which we pay dearly for. But it's not a great benefit to us to be annexed into the city.
Mayor John Hamilton says annexing the nearly 10,000 acres is long overdue. It's been more than a decade since the city's expanded.
A lot of people think they live in Bloomington, feel like they live in Bloomington. Their address says Bloomington, but they're not in the city boundaries.
Annexation also provides an incentive for developers. That was one of the motivations for a community southwest of Bloomington to incorporate some county property a few years ago. Washington also sits along the I-69 corridor, and city leaders knew annexing the property surrounding the interstate could bring more jobs to the small town.
If there's a project that comes in, a lot of times they'll designate they want to be within 15, 20 miles of the interstate. If you don't have one of those, then you don't even submit anything for that project. So it basically has opened up a whole nother world as far as what we do, and it gets you in the ball game for some of these projects.
Getting those projects is a lot easier when land is shovel ready, with utilities already in place. Washington has 10 2-acre sites ready for development.
The city of Washington, for instance, has been very proactive. They've got a new 600,000 gallon water tower that's out there and operational. Plans to extend sewer line.
It will be years before the land is fully developed, but it could result in an economic boost for the region. Even so, some Monroe County residents aren't convinced annexation of their neighborhoods is a good idea.
It will not just extend their revenues and their tax base, but they'll also be incorporating a lot of very conservative people. And maybe they can get rid of some of those liberals that run the city and put some common sense back into the way things are done.
For Indiana News Desk, I'm Barbara Brozier.
The City Council could consider several annexation ordinances as early as next week, but public hearings must be held before the proposal is adopted. If approved, the annexation would go into effect in 2020.